ended up being a success. Things we've done, student of the month. So we're really just trying to keep that positivity going for the kids. It helps the staff. They're excited now that some of our clubs are up and running. You know, they want to do things to give back to the community. And I'll echo the same thing that we all have been. Our teachers have been just absolutely amazing. You know, it started out from our first faculty meeting where we were all together, and you could see some of the anxieties and the nervousness, and just being able to meet with them on a daily and a weekly basis and talk about where we are and where we want to be and where we're moving towards. And it's just been it's been very nice to see in what's an abnormal situation. We've taken it and we've tried to make it as normal as possible for our kids, as normal as possible for our staff, so that they feel comfortable and they feel safe and they can still enjoy the day-to-day that goes on. So our right now, just so you know, our hybrid is at about 70% and our remote is about 30%, which was for us. So see a little bit of a difference, but we're very happy and our kids are happy in the building. We have a little bit extra on one day than the other, but our procedures so far have been working out very well. And the last challenge that we have, like everyone else, is some of the technology just shutting down on us in the middle of possibly a class. We did go through our maps, and right after the maps crashed a little, but then it came back together. We had already had separate plans ready and waiting, heaven forbid if that happened. So we're working on getting out in front of those things. And just a big thank you to everyone who's been supporting us. Even if we don't hear from you every day, we know that you're supporting us all the way from the board and central office. So I just want to say thank you for everyone for that. Yes, Martha.
Thanks, Ms. Carmen. Martha?
Thank you. Oh.
Martha, you got.
Okay, can you hear me now? Yes.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that especially the orchestra, I think it is absolutely amazing the way they're able to do it virtually. And I think with music, it's so important that they stay engaged in the music program. And it's amazing what they're doing. And I commend you for trying to make it as normal as we can for our students and the enjoyable things too, not just the academics.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Martha.
Oh.
Thank you, Ms. Carmen. Thank you. Next up, Principal Martin, high school.
Good evening, and thank you for affording us this opportunity to share the great things that have been going on. A lot of what I have to share will be echoes of what has started in the lower grades, and really worked on being consistent throughout the district as building leaders, and making sure that the students have that shared experience. So to start, of our 959 students, we have 679 are hybrid, that's 70%, 280 are remote, 30% remote. So it matches the percentages from the other buildings as well. Some of the challenges were early in the year, ways to connect to the students, new ways to establish those relationships that usually come through the in-person interactions. Our staff had to kind of be creative in the way they approach this. Navigating the new entry and exit procedures was somewhat challenging because Principal Carmen said as well, the temperature scanning. can be sensitive to change in temperatures as we're approaching the colder weather. A challenge we had was in those opportunities for building student engagement outside of the school day. But as we've progressed through the year, we have been able to work through clubs, the reinstatement of sports practices, and looking for alternate ways to hold things virtually to get that engagement going. A challenge that we're facing and trying to work through is the shortened class periods. Our teachers are doing a phenomenal job of collaborating, of thinking outside the box, of using technology, of preparing students ahead of time with certain materials, of making additional practice available after class to somehow stretch that time. But the shortened time was necessary because we're seeing that it's helping our students to be able to move through the hallways really well. Our dismissal at first was a challenge, and we were able to decrease it from what started on day one is 20 to 25 minutes. Now we're down to about 8 to 12 minutes at the max. So I think all of our challenges have been things that started out as such, but we really took on, I have to say that, the teachers really took on the opportunity to look at a new way to solve these problems. So some of our successes have absolutely, been because of our students. Our students have come in, they have been resilient, they have been wearing their masks. I look around at other districts and I'm noticing, that we have consistently been here since we've opened. And I'm really proud of that for our district. And I think that that is all, because of what the students are doing. They're abiding by the protocols. They're walking single direction hallway, even if it means we're all getting a lot more steps in on a daily basis. And then, moving on to our teachers who have just been phenomenal in accepting, the things that they can't change and embracing the technology and supporting one another. It's been really amazing to see the collegiality that happens on a daily basis. And on our Wednesdays for professional development, the extent to which you could hop into any classroom and see teachers sharing their knowledge, sharing their experience. That's some of the best professional development that's out there because they're going through it together and co-planning. They're taking, what might have gone really well or not as well and learning from one another. And I think that's helping even with the morale and the camaraderie on a daily basis to get through what might be less than ideal. So again, kind of turning that challenge into a positive way to grow. I think our communication has been a real success lately. Christine Moore has been wonderful about helping to facilitate those things through the district outlets, but we have been focusing on providing more frequent and more detailed emails to our parents via the SNN network. We started putting out more information highlighting students. So this past Friday when I was looking at GHS, just so parents can see what is going on a daily basis inside school where they may be wondering, how is it different this year? And I think there's a lot of great things going on, whether it's, our student foods class, the music coming out of, the band rooms, seeing today walking by the PE rooms where students are doing individual exercises with their tennis rackets. It's just adapting to a new way of doing things, but the classrooms are starting to have more of a traditional feel in the sense that you can see students having those conversations with one another. And that's all, to the credit of our teachers for building that and overcoming the hurdle of really having to establish, as some other people mentioned, that engagement that's really challenging during the remote time. Another success, definitely to look out the window in the afternoon and see kids outside, cross country, soccer. We've got even our basketball doing, practices. We have a wrestling team out. We have, you know, the practices out here on the rotation basis, abiding by the protocols, kids getting their temperatures checked before they're getting on the field, maintaining distance, keeping their masks. You can really see how important these things are to our students because of the level to which we're seeing teenagers take these things so seriously, being so responsible. So that's been really refreshing to see, and you can see it in their energy. So, you know, it's similar to the other buildings. We've been able to keep some traditions with some minor changes. So be it the freshman barbecue, that instead of one large session, we had 3 small ones. Be it, you know, our Halloween where we had to do it over the course of 2 days, one. We are currently in the midst of Spirit Week, so feel free to dress up. I think Color Day is coming up. It depends on the classroom. And overall, that our teachers have been taking advantage of any professional developments that are offered on our Wednesdays. So that's been really encouraging.
Great, thank you. Thank you, President Martin. Questions? Thank you, President Martin.
At this point, I'd like to say the board as a whole here together, we understand the difficulty of what you're going through, and we do appreciate all the work for the central office, our superintendent staff, all the way down to our building principals. We thank you. Importantly, our teachers, we understand that it's I think Mr. Lane described it as building it while we apply it approach. You know, it's fluid, difficult. I think you're doing a great job. You know, it's going to take some time to adapt. We're only 1 month into it. But the effort has been greatly appreciated by the board. I know the parents too. I'm sure the kids. I think the thanks goes all the way down to the staff, even the maintenance staff in each building, the work that they're doing every night to keep people safe has to be recognized, and we do recognize it, and we thank them. And really, most importantly, also to the end is the students and the families for their commitment to making this work. Obviously, we all recognize it's not what we want. We want to be the way it used to be, regular school day, regular kids, 5 days a week, doing their clubs, doing their activities. And we can't wait till that happens again. But we do appreciate everyone's efforts to date to make this work so far. So thank you. I am done. Thank you so much. Next on the agenda is the Assistant Superintendent for Business Report, Louise Lynch.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Great. Just have a couple of things to report on tonight. The first one is about the unemployment claim forms, and you will have a resolution before you tonight about this. We continue to experience high unemployment claims as a result of the way instruction and some of the functions of school districts are occurring this year. Fortunately, the board and the community has been fiscally responsible, and so we have the capacity to withdraw from the unemployment reserve because we did not budget to have the types of claims that we're seeing this year. So you will see that before you tonight. The fiscal challenges continue to provide us, we're funding staff members who are on leaves due to quarantine or childcare, and those are all types of leaves relative to the federal legislation. So as we staff a second position, a subbing position or a leave replacement, you will continue to see budget transfers as a result of the fact that it's more than we budgeted for this year. The good news is with the FEMA grant, we should be made whole, but that will come in and it will be a revenue. So it will offset the other side of the budget. Tax collection, this is our first year of tax collection remotely. And I'm pleased to report we've had a lot of communication. There have been a lot of people that we've spent a significant amount of time explaining to them, you know, the options that they've had, but I feel it's been successful, and I'm pleased to report that I believe our tax collection mirrors similar years where we're above the 90%. So you will see the unpaid collectors report before you at the next meeting as we prepare to turn that over to the county. Today, I received an email from the state about a 500-page report reflecting the state revenue shortfall. And I have not had a chance to read and digest it yet, but we will, I see Martha laughing. We will continue to unravel this and find out how this will impact Goshen. You know, it is impacting the entire state and country, obviously, but what's most important to us is how we can see how this will impact Goshen so we can plan accordingly. And the last brief thing I wanted to mention is we are continuing in the work in the business office to work on the multi-year expenditure report that was requested by the board. And we anticipate having this together shortly so that we can analyze this as we head into the 21-22 budget development season. I don't know if there's any questions.
Any questions for Louise?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is the Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum, Instruction, Personnel, and Technology, Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Pucci, and once again, good evening, everyone. Just a brief update. So the CARES Act funding application that we had submitted in September, of course, reaching the deadline or meeting the deadline rather, was returned to us last week as it was to everyone throughout the state. So the new deadline is November 23rd. Very confident that we'll be able to reach that deadline as well. This is truly the result of that equitable share calculation just kind of being handed down so that now we actually have to base this on the number of students from low-income families and take into consideration those that attend non-public schools both in and out of our district boundaries. This is certainly not a problem for us. We're very used to it as we do with the Title I grant applications. So I just wanted to make you all aware that it was returned, but it is not just a Goshen thing. It's a New York State thing, and we will have no problem meeting the deadline. And again, that is November 23rd, 2020. And that is it for me.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Any questions? Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Need a motion? I have a better appreciation for teachers, by the way. I'm not trying to use Zoom and in person. Do you know? I think I have. Being resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the consent agenda as presented. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We have no old business. We'll move on to new business. 12.1, in a motion for approval of minutes. Tom and Allison. Be it resolved, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the minutes for October 19th, 2020, regular board meeting. 2, readoption of the district safety plan. So nicely presented by Mr. Carter. Thank you, Diane. Any motions? Judy and Martha. Be resolved on the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Board of Education approves the readoption of the district safety plan as presented. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? .3, approval of New York State records retention schedule. I need a motion. I got Mike, and I got Tom. Be resolved that the Board of Education of the Goshen Central School District hereby adopts the retention and disposition schedule for New York Local Government Records Schedule LGS-01, effective December 31st, 2020. Issued pursuant to Article 57-A of the Arts and Cultural Affairs Law, containing legal minimum retention periods for local government records for use by all officers in legally disposing of valueless records listed therein, and being further resolved that in accordance with Article 57-A, only those records described in Schedule LGS-01 will be disposed of after they have met the minimum retention periods described therein. And B, only those records will be disposed of that do not have sufficient administrative, fiscal, legal, or historical value to merit retention beyond established legal minimum periods. All there. Opposed?
Aye.
12.4, a motion to approve lead evaluators for teacher certification. Judy. Yeah. Be resolved that pursuant to the requirements of Education Law Section 3012-D and Part 30-2.9 of the Regents rules, the following people have completed all of the required training to be recertified by this Board of Education as lead evaluators for classroom teachers: Robert Syracuse and Gregory Voloshin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? .5, in a motion to accept settlement agreement between Goshen Central School District and employee number 110220. Martha? I got Mike. Mike? I got Mike. Martha and Mike. Be resolved that the Board of Education, on the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, approves of the terms and authorizes its Superintendent of Schools sign a separation agreement and general release between the district and employee number 110220, as set forth in the separation agreement and general release dated November 2nd, 2020. This agreement shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby terminates the employment of employee number 110220 in accordance with the terms of the separation agreement and general release dated November 2nd, 2020 between district and employee number 110220. All in favor? Opposed? 12.6, need a motion to establish fund in high school extra classroom activity fund. This will be for the incoming class of 2024. Makes me sound old. Tom and Allison? I was just reminiscing that for a second. Oh, thank you. Good be good. Be it resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools that an account for the following club be established within the extra classroom activity fund at the high school. Club fund, class 2024. Faculty Club Advisors, Samantha Ruffin and Roseanne Lesser. Be it further resolved that the Faculty Club Advisors are authorized to sign disbursement orders, receipts, and otherwise oversee this account in accordance with district policy and the procedures outlined in the New York State Education Department guidelines entitled The Safeguarding, Accounting, and Auditing of Extra Classroom Activity Funds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 12.7. In a motion to approve the memorandum of agreement between the GAA and Goshen Central School District. Martha Powell. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education approves the memorandum of agreement between the district and the Goshen Administrators Association dated October 11, 2020, relating to a one-year extension of the collective bargaining agreement, which ended June 30, 2020. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent to execute said memorandum of agreement. All in favor? Opposed? We thank the GAA for their good faith negotiating.
We'd like to thank you, to President Pucci. Thank you to the whole board.
Heather's talking.
We just wanted to thank you and the whole board also. Thank you very much.
You can say that anytime you want.
Can you hear me?
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is 12.8. Approve agreement for special education services, Hudson River Neuropsychology. I didn't practice that one. I've studied before. For 12.9. I need a motion for 12.8. Allison and Dr. Be it resolved, the Board of Education enters into an agreement with Dr. Terry Kopitz from Hudson River Neuropsychology to conduct neuropsychological evaluations for the Goshen Central School District for the 2020-21 school year as follows. Each assessment, interview, testing, and feedback report, $2,850. Additional in-office services, optional, $225 per hour. Additional out-of-office services, also optional, $250 per hour. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the superintendent of schools to execute the agreement. All in favor? Opposed? 12.9. Need a motion to approve furlough certain non-pedagogical positions. And Allison. Whereas the Board of Education, for reasons of economy and efficiency, has determined that it is appropriate to furlough certain non-pedagogical positions every Wednesday, the remainder of the school year during a period of hybrid instruction, in which no students will be in school on Wednesdays unless otherwise modified by board resolution. And therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby furloughs the following non-pedagogical positions every Wednesday of each week commencing November 18, 2020, and continuing through June 30, 2021, unless otherwise modified by board resolution due to the changing needs of the district. We have 6 items. Bus drivers, furlough of 20. Bus monitors, furlough of 7. Food service helpers, furlough of 18. Teacher aide, student supervisor, furlough of 7. Teacher aide, furlough of 54. And teacher aide bilingual, 2. Be it further resolved that in accordance with Article 13 of the collectively negotiated agreement between the district and the CSEA employees. And the above referenced titles shall be furloughed in the inverse order of seniority by job classification on a district-wide basis. And be it further resolved that each unit member who is furloughed shall be provided with written notice of such furlough. And be it further resolved that each unit member who is furloughed shall remain on the district's health insurance at the regular employee contribution rate as set forth in the parties' collectively negotiated agreement during the period of such furlough. Be it further resolved that the furloughed employees shall not be paid on Wednesdays, but shall be paid for all days actually worked. And be it further resolved that in the event of recall, furloughed employees shall be recalled in seniority order by job classification and notified in writing of their recall in advance of such recall date. And be it further resolved that the board clerk is hereby directed to provide written notice to those employees who are furloughed pursuant to this resolution. All in favor? Opposed? I did. Need a motion for 12.10. Approve transfer from unemployment fund and increased budget that Louise. Mike, do I have you? I got Mike. And Tom. 12.10. Whereas the Board of Education has previously established an unemployment insurance reserve fund for the purpose of paying the cost of reimbursements to the state unemployment insurance fund for payments made to claimants. And whereas the current unemployment claims are far in excess of the appropriation in the 2020-21 budget. Therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby appropriates funds from the UI Reserve Fund in the aggregate amount of up to $250,000, but not to exceed the total unemployment claims, to repay the general fund for the payment of unemployment claims for the 2020-21 school year, and authorizes the Assistant Superintendent for Business to transfer the funds from the UI Reserve Fund to the general fund, as specified in this resolution. All in favor? Opposed? 12.1, I need a motion to accept and award bid for HVAC and refrigeration service. Be resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, Board of Education accepts HVAC and refrigeration service hourly bid number BGFS-002-20 and awards the bid to MDS HVACR Inc. in the amount of $95 per hour, with an overtime rate of $142.50 per hour, the holiday rate of $190 per hour. Travel charge of $25 per call and a 15% markup on parts, effective December 16, 2020 through December 15, 2021. All in favor? Opposed? Board member issues. Mr. Ryan.
I was wondering if explanation can be given about snow days, especially something put up on our website about it, because people are very confused about why there's so many snow days. I think we should give them the reasons.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
I just want to follow up what Tom said too. It kind of caught a few of us off guard. And obviously the community was also caught off guard on it. So I think we need a little bit more transparency to, understand what's going on and why Goshen decided to join this pilot, I believe it is.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Sorry. Thank you, Superintendent Connor will address that.
Yes.
Yes.
I was just wondering if, you probably don't have to, when we can get back to some kind of normalcy in these meetings? Is there, what are the rules right now in terms of having people here? How many can you have?
And he's still on the executive board.
Yes, but there's a number. I just wondered, I mean, are the administrators not coming because they don't want to come in because of COVID? Or they don't feel they need to be here? I mean, everything is so weird the way it is. And I just wish we could get back to some kind of normal. Even having these reports from visitors, I mean, if they were here, we get a lot more out.
Principal's not coming is kind of like
It's just a question that I have. I mean, I'm not, I don't know how the rest of them feel about it.
I think that the board meetings are closed to the public. That's why they're not here.
Can't you have certain number?
Check into that.
Yeah, we can look into that. It's not easy. It's tough doing it up here, to be honest with you. Back and forth with them. Good question. Okay, good. I need a motion to close the meeting. Tom and Allison, all in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Thank everyone for coming and watching. Everyone have a good night.